Hey, Kablito.
Hey,
Um,
Hosna.
it's going good. So it's really great to finally get to talk to you. So my first question is I wanted you to walk me through your name. Why Kablito?
My real name is Karen, but like no one could say my name right in school. Um, and like people would call me Karen, and I never liked that name. Like I was very against it. And I would just be like, no, like Karen, and people couldn't say it right. People would so some people call me like Karen, and it just wasn't really working. And then my friend Kayla, a friend from high school, literally just was like, "You're Cablito," because there was someone named Pablo, I think, and then he was Pablito and Karen Cablito, and it just kind of stuck.
I'm super curious though, like about people calling you Karen, because I'm sure that's a big change from coming from Ecuador, where you're from, and where people
Yeah.
said your name correctly. Um, I kind of wanted to ask about that transition to the US.
So I lived in the Bronx briefly, and then Elizabeth, New Jersey. That's where I first went to school, but just briefly. And then eventually we ended up moving to Minnesota.
I can imagine Minnesota super white. What was
Hmm.
it like to kind of be in a setting like that?
It was weird. It was definitely really weird because well, that's where like I learned to speak English. And I think for the longest time, because there were like in my high school, like there was like one other Mexican girl, but it was pretty much all white people, like a few blacks, but it was primarily white. And I think it was just really disorienting for me. Like I felt like other, I always felt other, and I was like trying to like fit in. So like I feel like I've had so many like different like phases of like style and like crowds of people that I hung out with, because I was like very much trying to find my place. Whereas like I come from Ecuador, like a Christian, like singing in choir, like Christian school, uniforms. And then the US is like was like a shock. Like took me a long time to find my way and like figure out who I was within this place.
How do you describe your sound? I feel like there are a lot of different influences at play, and I'm just wondering in your own words, like what is it like?
Kind of came up with the name Pop Urbano.
Hmm.
I feel like that kind of like, because urbano is anything from like reggaeton, it could be dance hall, and trap,
Hmm.
that's urban, and then pop because the melodies are very much like pop influence.
Is it important for you to work with Latinx producers and just people in the production team?
That's kind of shifting actually right now, but definitely important because for a long time when I was living in LA, I was feeling like it was really hard for me to find the right production to make the kind of music that I wanted to make, because LA is is a lot more diverse. Like whereas Miami is very much like Latin music, LA is R&B, trap is a little bit more diverse, and there aren't a lot of like Latin artists as much as Miami. So I think for a long time I felt like I needed to like explain the sound that I wanted to a producer, whereas in Miami I'll walk into a room and like I just feel like things just flow easier
Yeah.
because I don't have to explain like reggaeton, I don't have to explain like dembow, I don't have to explain anything. They're just like, oh yeah, we got you.
I think so much of what I appreciate about your work is the kind of aesthetic visuals that you produce alongside the music, and specifically with music videos. I'm a big fan of them. And I'm curious about like how do you go about these music videos? Do you have a team of people that you really trust to execute these things, or is it something like it starts from you, these kinds of concepts for what you want a music video to look like?
I've been working with one of my closest friends. She's actually here in Mexico right now too. Patricia, she goes by Tirami Suave.
Oh,
And her and I, we met and we literally just like, we just clicked. So she's been working on all my visuals ever since then. She's someone that I can really trust. Like I don't really feel the need to like explain myself with her. I'm just like, yeah, you get it, you get me. Like we were really close friends. And then most recently I've been working with my friend Elias Lopez, and he's another one that very much so have a really good relationship with, and things just turn out. I feel like when you just find the right people, things just like flow.
Tantos caminos que he corrido por estar contigo. Yo por ti dejé todo sin mirar. El tiempo de las canas fueron
I love that
testigos.
you, in quarantine, kind of in the early quarantine days when COVID was just hitting last spring, you released Baby Bye Bye and you kind of worked on a medium TikTok, which I think some people were already really on, but it's something that was new to others through quarantine. And I learned that you were into TikTok before COVID. And I'm wondering just like how these kinds of different things were coming together to produce that particular music video, and especially the way you invited TikTokers as well to kind of be featured in the music video.
We had this idea to make this music video for Baby Bye Bye in like a country club with like a tennis court, and it was going to be like this outdoor thing where I was going to be like in a golf cart and I was going to be performing, and it was going to be really like fun and like outdoor, like summertime video. And then COVID happened, and P had the idea. She was just like, what if we just do it on TikTok, like, you know how they do like the green screens,
Yeah.
and we'll just like insert like the places that you would have been. I feel like so much of the time we think of music videos as like this big thing. You need like this big budget and like all this stuff, but like literally I made it on my phone, you know, and that was like, fuck yeah, this is awesome. Like to be creative in a time where like you can't do it, like just use the tools that I have.
The other music video I wanted to ask you about was the one for Yo Nunca Te Quise.
Yeah.
Obsessed. I'm obsessed with that music video. I think it's pretty bold. I mean, I feel like the way that it represents like you on your own in your room is both like super sexy and also like at times like kind of religious, some of the imagery too. Like there's crosses and in the frame, and I'm kind of wondering like what you hope the message of that music video was.
We had the idea, and like when the idea came about, it was like really fun, but in the moment it was just like, whoa, I'm like performing these moves and I'm actually like doing all this, and like I have to like feel myself, I have to be in character, which, you know, there's like a performance, like it's not just me like singing, it's like there was a choreography and there was like all these you know, parts of it. I feel like a lot of the time is looked down on to be like feel good about being a sexual being, like with women, you know, like I feel like a lot of the time, like, you know, they're hoes, they're whatever, you know, and I feel like I just wanted to like be like, no, it's like it's hot, it's cool to be sexy, like, and I can do it in a way that I feel like it's very much represents who I am. It doesn't have to be like, I'm not necessarily wearing like the hottest outfit, you know what I'm saying? Like I'm wearing like leggings and like underwear. So I don't know, I just wanted it to do sexy like in my own way, like my representation of like what sexy meant to me.
We're both women, and like I think being able to kind of render like a sexuality for women and for girls, I think is super like important. And so I really love the music video in the sense that it feels both like for women but also just like for anybody as well. Like it just kind of has this like this to it that it like, because it comes from you and it comes from how you are like seeing yourself. How do you feel when people say that your music is Latinx, and how do you feel about the Latinx genre?
I was literally having this conversation with friends in Miami couple weeks ago about Latinx. I was like, do you guys know what it means to be called like a Latinx artist? And they were just like, no. Like all my Latin friends were just like, no, ¿qué es eso? And I'm like, it just kind of means like describing if they're she or he, is just kind of saying broadly saying like Latinx.
Yeah.
I think it should be asked before it's used or something, just like, you know. And I think it's also that something that I feel like, correct me if I'm wrong, but I feel like it's been made out by American culture. Latinos don't really know what that means, and they're being called that.
Yeah, for sure. And I think, I mean, this even goes to like the name of the magazine that we're, you know, meeting with, Latina magazine. It's something that we've kind of been having conversations with as well. Just like how the labeling is of the term Latinx or Latina and Latino. These are things that do kind of refer back to like an American culture, US specifically kind of Anglo-white culture, defining what Latin people are. And oftentimes it can kind of like almost flatten the kind of experience of being Latinx, because it assumes that somebody from one state, you know, or one country is very similar to people from another country, or people who make sounds just because they come and speak in the Spanish language, they might have a kind of relation to another person who sings in the Spanish language, which we wouldn't do to people and artists who are singing in English, right? When you're singing in Spanish, does it feel like a decision you're making kind of in contrast maybe to like a music scene that's mostly in English, or is it something that just kind of comes to you, and like, how do you relate to singing in Spanish?
Well, when I first started writing, I wrote in Spanish, and then when I lived in like Minneapolis, around those times, I was writing in both English and Spanish. But I think like for me, it's a decision, but it's also like I am very much Latin, and like I hang out with Latin people, so it's like not something that I'm like thinking about it too much. But it is definitely like a decision that I've made, because I feel there needs to be representation from where I'm from, and like I don't know how it would be if I were to make the music that I make in English. I feel like it would be less special. Like part of me it wouldn't be like fully who I am. And like Spanish is my first language. So I think in Spanish most of the time still, you know, unless I'm like in English speaking groups.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's both, you know. I think there's a little bit of both, definitely.
Describe a shitty experience that now makes you giggle.
Anytime that I've made a music video, it's been somewhat of a shitty experience.
Why do you say that?
Which I'm so glad when you were like, I love your music videos. I'm like, really? Because like I watch them and I see like it's hard for me to like see the result product, because I'm just like, I remember just like struggling that day or something, you know?
Yeah.
But then you look back and you're like, that was ridiculous. Like we literally worked so hard. Why am I putting myself through all this stress? Yeah, I love making music. That's right.
What's a dream gig that would make you feel like hot shit?
Probably any sort of like big festival. Like I've yet to play a festival, and I think that would be super sick, like Coachella or like something like on television, like Jimmy Fallon or something like that.
What kinds of shit are you into these days?
I'm really into like making stuff these days. I made this phone case.
Oh, I love it.
You know, like I just decorated it. I made these pants. I made this bag that has like a chain. I think it's also on my Instagram. I wore it.
When was the last time that you felt like shit?
I'm like, this morning. Just kidding. I've been moving around so much. Like I was in Miami, and then I was in Atlanta for like a brief amount of time, and yeah, I think I was just like worn out, and I was like writing songs and I was like doing work, but I was like on autopilot, rethinking my whole existence. I'm like, what am I doing? Is this even making me happy?
Oh my God, yeah.
You know, like really going there.
Existential.
What
was your shittiest gig?
When I was younger, I was performing with this band, and I was performing and I got really excited. I just got like super drunk, and then I went on stage and like I had like total tunnel vision. Like I just went like whoosh, and I was like, I don't know where I am. Like I literally had to get off stage. Like I was just like, I can't even like see where I am. That was literally the shittiest time, because I was like so excited to play this show and I just totally blew it. That day I learned a lesson, and that is that I don't drink before a show.
Well, thank you so much, Kablito. It was so nice to talk with you. It was really great just learning a lot more about you and just like your creative process and just some of your experiences. And I'm, super excited to see where your work takes you, the things that you're writing, producing. I feel like your stuff's already amazing. I can't wait to see what else comes out soon.
It was so lovely talking to you.
Tu fronte.